Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement, presented by 3Chi and Barstool Sports. I am your host, Robbie Fox, and I am with my main man, Clem, to recap the final episode of What If Season 1. We've made it to the end. What did Tony Stark say in Endgame? Every journey has an end, right? And this is the end of What If Season 1. It was a very fun season. It was fun recapping it with you. We got KFC on for a lot of the beginning ones. He said apologies. He could not make it today, but he will be back in the future. My Mom's Basement. We'll get him for Hawkeye. We'll get him for random episodes here and there. I'm sure there's some random movie that I haven't seen that we could do an episode on before this and Hawkeye. Between this and Hawkeye, I mean.
That's a good call. Yeah. I remember we talked about Warriors the other day, but I do feel like there was a more modern movie that I thought would be a good one for us and the Clancy variants to talk about. So we'll definitely get it. What if the boys made it all the way to the end of the season and had a good ass time doing it? Got crazy with the what if. Shout out all the listeners. Shout out everyone that submitted their own what ifs and stuff like that. And feels good to be here. Feels good. What if Tony Stark didn't die in an episode? We got another one, Bob. My guy made it as far as I could tell. I mean, they don't really go too deep into it. But he died in 90% of these shows, and as fucked up as it sounds, by the end I was like, can we just bring him back and kill him? Because it didn't feel like a real episode of What If. And everyone's been tweeting at us. I think I don't know if it was Eric Voss or someone else did a what if Tony's death is a what's the word event
it was a nexus event, right?
Yeah, or an absolute moment or something, kind of like with Rachel McAdams dying, right? And I don't know if that's the case, but we're not going to be doing a deep dive on that, but it feels good. And even seeing the title of this episode, what if the Watcher broke his oath? I'm like, oh, we're getting to that now. That is going to happen. And Pop Fox basically called this fucking episode. Bravo, Bob.
Yeah, I thought we would get the Guardians of the Multiverse, and we did get the Guardians of the Multiverse. That's what they called them. The big baby got involved. Now, I saw some people asking this. The whole what if the Watcher broke his oath? Does that mean there's a universe where the Watcher didn't break his oath? Where he's watching other multiverses in a different multiverse?
Bob, do you try to break my brain just so everyone who's listening on the YouTube could just see the crumbles of brain matter falling out of my ear every single time? Because whoa. I have 3Chi brain right now as we're talking about this. Oh my gosh. I'm even just getting to the Tony Stark absolute point, getting that part of the conversation. And now you're talking about the Watcher watching himself. And then does that Watcher then have another Watcher watching him if he doesn't break the oath?
Who watches the Watcher?
Who watches the Watcher? But we made it. We made it to the end of the season, unless there's a secret episode next week.
There could be a secret episode. You never know. You never know. And there was actually meant to be another episode in this season that we kind of got hints of in this episode. It was what if Gamora defeated Thanos? This was apparently an episode that got canned due to COVID. And that's why she was a big part of the finale and not in any of the other episodes. She had Thanos' armor. She had the Infinity Crusher that's supposed to crush the stones. And yeah, we didn't get that. It was supposed to be her and Tony Stark on Nevedalier or whatever, that place where Peter Dinklage was.
Okay, so again, talking about the broken brain stuff. Again, I've said this many times. Getting old, your brain gets worse. Having kids, your brain gets significantly worse, immediately. I saw her in the suit, and I said, when the fuck did this happen? That I was you know what? I couldn't have missed that episode. We've recapped every episode. And honestly, I just straight up was your dumb brain obviously forgot. And again, Thanos and Iron Man, my two guys. Gamora is Sienna's favorite character. I think I'd remember with those three and Thanos going down. And I'm just man, your brain is really shitty these days. I'll still remember when Sienna was a newborn, I put my coffee in the refrigerator and I put the milk in the coffee mug cabinet. And I was like, holy shit, my brain is shot. It's never been the same since. So it's good to know that was a Disney thing. Shout out to whoever's in charge of Disney, just straight up fucking mail timed it. Didn't give a fuck about trying to rework the episode. It's a cartoon. Nope, we're just going to throw Gamora in there and confuse the living shit out of the audience. Because Bob, I had no idea what was going on until just now. So thank you for that.
Yeah, she just showed up. She was just part of it.
Yeah, exactly. They show her, and again, I saw the Never Kalir or whatever that I call it, Never Can Never. I know it's a shit from the Matrix, and I'm like, oh, we're going back here, man. I haven't seen this in forever, and then it's just them chilling there as if we're supposed to know. Very confusing, but awesome. They got to finish that episode. Episode, and I also got to say this. I think a lot of people with Loki were very upset that the Infinity Stones meant nothing and they were moving on for them. I think other than this episode that they owe us, I think we can move on from the Infinity Stones now, right? I
I
think we've had our
agree. Yeah.
fill. Like I was like, all right, guys, like we're on to Kang. In the words of Bill Belichick, we're on to Kang now. Thanos and the Infinity Stones are in the past. I love them. They're my favorite things in the world. It's literally the one thing that I record with
Yeah.
right there is the Avengers poster with the Infinity Stones. But I think I've had my fill of the Infinity Stones.
Here's the question: how'd they get so smooth? They were the smoothest. They were like Infinity Pebbles in this.
That's a great call. Maybe does you think Ultron like has like a little thing in his little system where it's those little rock tumblers? You ever
Oh
like
yeah,
those?
yeah.
Oh man, you get a nice smooth rock. If I was a robot,
Smooth
that'd be a
rock. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah.
top three thing that I would have as if I was my own robot. Number one is something we will not discuss. It's a family podcast, but I think every man would want to do something like that, right? We've all broken a rib trying to do the old Marilyn Manson. There's a couple of things, and then having a nice rock tumbler, having a nice smooth rock, making the Infinity Stones. Like if you have the Infinity Stones, you gotta fucking rock the Infinity Stones, right?
Yeah.
Like Thanos had the gauntlet. You gotta make that shit look nice. So I like to think that he fucking tumbling the Infinity Stones in a little like $25 like rock tumbler is a hilarious thought.
We could get right into the episode. It begins with Captain Carter, the Winter Soldier. So we actually get to see like a Union Jack Winter Soldier outfit, which I thought was very cool. I said last time it might just be the Union Jack flag. These outfits are badass. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. She fights GSP on this ship, and I got to say, GSP looked absolutely nothing like GSP. Like nothing like George St. Pierre. It was very weird. Baratok the Leaper, they gave him like dark hair. They gave him like a mustache, but they do the whole thing. I thought you could fight without the shield, thought you were like a real person. They do the whole fight, and then she gets plucked out of her universe by the Watcher. And that's the beginning of this episode, is the Watcher going to the various episodes that we've seen and plucking everyone out of their universes to help guard the multiverse. So he gets T'Challa, who had been rescuing Peter Quill from Ego. He gets Thor, who is fighting Ultron drones in Las Vegas. He gets Killmonger, who is about to battle Pepper and Shuri. They were about to have like a confrontation there. We meet Gamora, and your guy Tony Stark he doesn't die, but he kind of gets disrespected by like not coming along. He's like, whoa, fucking, he gets up and they're like, you're not important here, buddy. And she has Thanos' armor and the Infinity Crusher. And this is important because the initial plan, she says, is to get the Infinity Stones in this Infinity Crusher, and we're going to destroy him like that. Later, that's not able to happen, but that was the initial plan. So that's almost like the in Endgame when they have like Scott Lang's van. That's what we're all going towards right now. So that's the start of it. It was a long start. I gotta say, I liked this episode. It was good. We'll rank all the episodes at the end when we were done talking about it. It felt more like a better conclusion to the series than it did a singular episode. You know, like half the episode was just like, hey, you've been chosen. Hey, you've been chosen. Hey, you've been chosen. And oh, yeah, I remember him from last week. Oh, yeah, I remember him from 3 weeks ago. Oh, yeah, I remember him too. And then by the time they fought, it was kind of just like getting everyone fighting. That's it.
You said it best. I liked it, didn't love it by any means. The fact that the fact that you kind of like got my brain prepared for this as a possibility helped. But I never was like, oh, I want to see this guy again. I want to see, Party Thor again and stuff like that. I did want to see Star-Lord T'Challa, which did they say there was actually going to be like an animated series? If
that came out this week, yeah, that they were apparently going to do a spinoff of just Star-Lord T'Challa, which is a shame because I feel like out of everyone from What If, maybe other than Captain Carter, but even with Captain Carter, they just really followed the Captain America storyline. So that was like, it is what it is. That was the one that I feel like that could have been its own series. You involve Howard the Duck, get Seth Green in there, like that could be something big.
That had like it felt a little deeper. I don't know what it was. Like I think we even talked about the time. Like it felt alive to me, and it is something I think they could have definitely done a deeper dive on. But I mean, it fucking sucks. It is what it is. And again, this is coming from a guy who just wanted to see happy Thanos just being in our life every week. Would have been so delightful. The big baby just showing up. I kind of like when there's the guy who's supposed to be in the background and people are like pointing him out. I dug that aspect of it. Also, absolutely brutal fucking beat for people named Bernard and people that work in accounting, and then people that name Bernard that work in accounting who it's like, yo, if your name is Bernard or you're in accounting, you have a tough life because you probably get clowned for one of those two. If you're double, they fucking double whammied you. Which one do you think's harder? Being a Bernard your whole life? And shout out all the Bernards out there, all the listeners. We love the Bernards. Bernie's always good to have in your crew. It's hard having a Bernard and compared to a Bernie. And then especially Andy Bernard too, so you're kind of in the Nard dog. I guess you could be in the Nard dog, that's good. Or if you're an accountant, like what do you think is like if I told you right now we're gonna hang out with someone named Bernard and we're gonna hang out with an accountant, who do you think is more fun?
I'll be honest, I'm taking Bernard and hoping we get Bernie Williams in there.
Nah, Bobby the
Burn,
Yankee
baby, burn.
fan. I feel like if you get the right Bernard, 10 out of 10 out of 10. Like
Yeah,
10,
yeah.
you are
You get the right
chanting.
Bernie, yeah, you're in business.
Yeah, you're chanting "Burn, baby, burn" 1,000%.
Yeah. It's almost like a Herb. I could see like a
Yes,
Bernie in the Herb group from WandaVision.
perfect way to put that. I also
By the way, I want to see like what if Herb was the hero of WandaVision? Make that episode.
what if Mephisto's ass actually appeared? Scumbag
Yeah.
Mephisto. I was kind of surprised that the Watcher like didn't take Gamora, go out, and then go, oh yeah, by the way, like go back, pop back in, slit Tony Stark's neck, and then like moved on to the next scene. That's still like the biggest upset of this entire series. Party Thor, I'm gonna say it. I don't remember how I felt about the episode at the time. He's kind of like he's like a cooler, like more alive version, but I kind of think I prefer Fat Thor more. And he's like a fancier version of Fat Thor. You know what I mean? Where it's like the same kind of jokes, except he's saying it as like this good looking guy instead of a guy who looks a little more like me. I'm just like, fuck you, Thor. Get out of my face, man.
At least Fat Thor was relatable in terms of he had anxiety, he was having
Yeah.
panic attacks. I was like, whoa, I kind of get you, Thor. You're nervous about going in front of, your former love or your mom because you're back in time, you're fat now. Jock Thor stunk. I'm gonna just come out and say it. When we get to our rankings later, Only Child Thor was my last. That was my least favorite episode of What If. I didn't hate it, which says a lot about this series. I got through that episode and I went, all right, it was another What If, but that definitely was my least favorite. So the stupid tattoo where he had like the microscope or whatever he had, it's science, like cheesy, just cheesy.
And let me also say this: when you're in the basement, and if you're in your mom's basement, jocks aren't usually getting a lot of love in the conversations down there. They're like, fuck that guy, man. Fuck that guy, that little blonde hair with the muscles. He thinks he's so cool. He's fucking Natalie Portman. Oh, I'm so cool. Fuck you. She was my lab partner. She touched my leg once by mistake. I think she really liked me. That's what's going on in the basement. So fuck you, Party Thor.
Jock's not welcome unless you're a listener, in which case then you're like the cool jock that hangs out with the nerds. Then you are welcome. That's kind of, the 21 Jump Street thing. By the end, Channing Tatum's pretty cool guy to Jonah Hill. But Party Thor actually accidentally summons Ultron early. And this is like where it's like, of course he does. We get this crazy fight. Strange put protection spells on all of them. This was the one thing where I was like, are they introducing these cool looking protection spells that kind of look like, coats of armor for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, for Spider-Man No Way Home? Is this something we're going to see in live action in the future? Kind of reminds me of the week before Rise of Skywalker, when in The Mandalorian we were introduced to Force healing. And they had Baby Yoda do a Force healing, and then like the week later, Rey was doing it in The Rise of Skywalker. So I could see that being a thing. The zombies get resurrected at one point. We see like zombie Scarlet Witch to distract Ultron. They get back to Natasha's reality at one point. They get her to join the fight. And they realize they can't destroy the stones with the Infinity Crusher because they don't come from this reality. So that does go back to kind of what we talked about in Loki with the Infinity Stones in the draw, why they were, just piled up there. It goes back to what we talked about in the Marvel versus DC comics, where I think it was, who was it that got someone got the Infinity Gauntlet, and then they were like, oh, it was Darkseid. He got the Infinity Gauntlet, and it didn't work. He snapped because it was in the DC universe. So Natasha infects Ultron with Zola. This is what we kind of expected to see after we saw the episode last week. And then Killmonger and Zola both make plays for the stones. Killmonger kind of turns on his team in a very Black Panther way, like he was in that movie. He's like, let's use the stones for good. Let's, but he has kind of evil intentions through that. Zola, of course, just wants to become powerful because he's a Nazi. And Strange Supreme realizes they need to separate the stones, not necessarily defeat these enemies. He realizes their true purpose. It's almost like that when he makes the one to Tony Stark, like, this is it. Oh my God, here it is. So he has to trap Zola, Killmonger, and Ultron in a pocket dimension, pocket universe, little tiny thing. That's another thing I could see coming up in the movies. I could see him trapping his villains, or like a villain coming out of that or something. And there it is, though. The Watcher's like, all right, you're going to have to fucking watch these guys. You're going to have to become basically a new Watcher. And he's like, yeah, I got nothing but time, brother. So I'm with you for the long haul. And we did get a post-credit scene, or a mid-credit scene, I should say. You like to call it a mid-credit scene. Be right about it. And it's something we expected from the first episode. Something I said, I think I wanted in the first episode. I was like, oh, it would have been so cool if they would have made Steve Rogers this universe's Winter Soldier. And I think that's what we're going to get. in the post-credit scene because they take Peggy Carter to the Iron Stomper. Was that what it's called? Or the Hydra Stomper.
Hydra Stomper, yep.
It's Natasha. She says someone's inside. And it's like, oh shit, she's about to reunite with Steve. This is going to be a whole thing. Good episode, like I said, not a great episode. It was a good conclusion, wrap everything up in a bow. I think I would have liked it better if you would have said 8 episodes, 1 hour finale, and this was combined with last week.
I agree with that. I saw the arrow on the ground with the green. I'm like, oh, that means something. I couldn't remember it was Zola. And I actually like that thing. I like when things are so bad in a comic book storyline that the bad guys are helping the good guys. Like, yo, I want to take over the world, but there ain't gonna be no world left unless we team up. I always love
We've
that
talked
side.
about that before. Like both of us are big fans of that. I think X-Men 2, when Magneto has to team up with the X-Men, all of that stuff is like right up our alley.
Yep, and even kind of having Killmonger as a bad guy, even though I know he was supposed to be a good guy, but then he's Killmonger.
It was weird. Like when they plucked him and got him on this team, I was like, he's gonna turn on the team at some point, right? Because like he fucking killed Tony Stark. This Killmonger is like the most evil one.
Yo, don't try to sneak some sus motherfuckers past us, Disney. Our sus radars have been up for months now. So we're like damn near a year. So don't even try to do that kind of shit. Chekhov Squid Monster knew that thing was coming back after like the second time, its second appearance in the show. Once we kind of got a glimmer of it, I believe last episode, I was like, oh, he's coming back. And sure enough, that played a big role there. I also realized just looking at the guy, I was trying to figure out a Halloween costume the last few weeks. I thought we were going to be the Bluey family, and then that fell through. The Bluey family would have been such a good family costume. And it's probably like maybe the last year we can do it. Sienna's in second grade now. Pretty soon she's going to want to dress like her friends or go off on her own. Breaking news on the My Mom's Basement. You guys get to scoop over Podfathers, where this is usually announced. The Clem family has come out, and you get to scoop, Bob, because it is straight out of the basement. They what is it? Let me get the actual name of this thing. Spidey and his amazing. Okay, so I've talked about this, I think in the past. Disney Plus, Spidey and his amazing friends. Incredible fucking cartoon for kids to watch. It's like any parent who are listening knows, like PJ Masks. It's like it's a crack to these kids. They just watch it over and over. They basically have taken PJ Masks, put them in Spider-Man outfits, and made it better because it's fucking Marvel. And AJ is Spider-Man. He's obsessed with Spider-Man. Sienna is Ghost Spider, aka Spider-Gwen. Miles Morales, we do not unfortunately have anyone in the house that could be Miles right now, but Miles is beloved in this house. And yeah, exactly. And they know Rhino, they know Green Goblin, they know all their different, Hulk is a recurring character, Black Panther, all that kind of stuff. So they're the two Spider-Men, and as we have to be the parents, we're in as well. I am the Hulk, and Wifey is going to be Captain Marvel. So it's big times here at the Clem family.
Wow, I can't wait to see that.
Yep.
I mean, since you revealed the scoop, I know I've said this on the podcast before, but we have the costumes confirmed. Me and my girlfriend are doing Loki and Sylvie. So look out for the pictures of that once Halloween rolls around, everybody, because I think we're going to nail that one.
And anybody who doesn't know Lady Fox, let me just tell you, she pulls off an incredible. So she looks just like Sylvie. I've never met her in person, but just seeing pictures, I'm like, yo, that's Sylvie.
She's got the platinum blonde hair. Like I think it's going to be some fire Instagram pictures.
I'm a little worried about you, honestly, Bob. I've never met her, and I don't want to call your girl the S word, but like, it seems a little sus how much. Yeah,
love is a dagger.
But as I was watching this, I'm like, shit, I could even have been the watcher. I don't know how it would have made my eyes into that like glowing white fucking color, but I definitely could have pulled off the watcher.
The big baby, that would have been a big hit in the basement. Yeah,
yeah, that would have gone over the heads of every single person whose house I stopped at, but I would have been a legend in the basement. Guardians of the Multiverse felt a little try-hard, right?
Yeah, I mean, that hit the ear like a car crash. Like, come on.
I guarantee you, man, that fucking watcher, he's seen like Nick Fury and the name like the Avengers. He's probably seen the X-Men. He's like, those names are so cool. Guardians of the Galaxy. And he's like, hey, guys, I got it. Guardians of the Multiverse. And it was just like the record scratched, right? And it was just crickets chirping in the background because that
he should have stole a name from a different multiverse that everyone didn't know about. He should have stole a cooler name.
Suicide Squad. They could have been like, oh, that sounds awesome. We're all just doing this. It's one. We got to face Ultron with the Infinity Stones. We're absolutely fucked. But one part about this episode I did like is I liked how they were exchanging stories from different universes. Like, oh, in my universe, you're this, and in my universe, you're that. And they kind of be like, oh, this
the Natasha
universe
stuff. Like they dropped Natasha off in a universe where she didn't die, or that she did die. They're like, this universe lost her Natasha. I don't think it was our Marvel universe they dropped her off in though. Because I don't think that was like, hey, Black Widow's back in the MCU. pretty sure it was a different universe.
No, I was thinking the same thing, but there was a moment where you realize it can't be this universe. I can't remember. Well, I mean, it just can't be because it wouldn't. It's young Captain America. There's a bunch of other things I don't remember. I'm sure that if anyone's listened, there's probably one or two things that give away that it's not this universe. But yeah, they lost their widow and then they just kind of plop her back in. Also, don't call me the H word, but I do feel like there was like a little bit of weird sexual chemistry. I felt between Natasha and Captain Carter, where she's like, maybe if his name was Steve, and it was kind of like this. Like, I know BFFs, it felt a little more than BFFs. That's all I'm kind of saying.
I thought you were gonna say, "Don't call me Hitler."
Oh, no. Bob, get this word out of your head. We've already talked about that enough with Ken Jack. Bob, we've already,
We're talking the H-man there.
Are you rooting for Zola here? You were rooting for Zola from day one. You're hoping he was going to win it.
See, I thought that when he made Ultron green, I thought that was cool, but I wasn't rooting for
him. The thing I liked most about this episode, though, is I thought it was like a very cool fight scene. It was like over the top, but that felt very comic booky. Everything about it fell out of a comic book, and it's nothing I don't think you could do in a million years with a live action movie is pull off the kind of like crazy shit with the powers and all that kind of stuff that I thought was cool. Yet it also gave you like you're jumping and it's like, oh, get the stone up, do this, do that. And again, I think I've had my fill of the Infinity Stones, and that's coming from a diehard Infinity Stone stand. Infinity Stone stand. That's really hard to say. The zombies coming down, I definitely geeked out at that. I thought that was a cool twist. And when he just blew them up, I was like, yeah, you fucking idiot. They're zombies. Like, that's nothing. And then I saw zombie Scarlet Witch, and I thought we were going to get more out of her. I thought she was going to really fuck him up and then see that it's Vision. And I thought there could have been something deeper with that. I blame it on Corona if you want, but I thought they could have went a little further with that. Then again, she is a zombie. She probably doesn't fucking doesn't have like deep thoughts and feelings and all that stuff. And then, the last line I had was Watcher. He's pretty much the guy that calls for delivery like a block away from his house and then like doesn't get up, makes the guy like bring it into his house if he has to. Like, dude, like Strange, you're going to make Strange do all this shit for you. You're the fucking Watcher. It's in your name, yet you'll just break your oath whenever it fucking suits you. I'll tell you, I think I have a beef with the Watcher now. The big baby's on my fucking hit list.
I'm kind of with you. Like, even at the end when he's like, yeah, you're going to have to watch that little ball. It's like, well, you're watching all these other multiverses, so why don't you just watch one more? It's like, if you're already babysitting, what's one more kid?
Yep, 1,000%. I'm with you on that.
Freaking fly in this room. It's
better than a mouse. I will say too. I know that like you like the mid credits. I would have liked that mid credits as. Or you could have kept the mid credits there, or put it in the end when they're bringing them to all the different universes. I really wanted to see that Strange in Spider-Man. Like, we get to like have a little hint.
We got to admit, we're part of the problem. We're setting our expectations high. I was like, they're going to jump into live action. We're going to see Haley Atwell in the Captain Carter suit. And they're like, no, dude, we're setting up season 2 of What If, like the show you're watching right now.
Stop Redditizing this goddamn series and ruining it for yourself. This is a perfectly fine show on its own.
Speaking of like the Redditizing of shows or whatever, no show had that more than WandaVision, I feel like. And before we rank our episodes, we got some WandaVision news to talk about this week. Fellas, the sport of business means demanding excellence from your craft and wardrobe. Right now, in my own apartment. I was going to say in my mom's basement. I'm basically in my mom's basement, even though I'm in my own apartment. It's the same kind of vibe in here. And I'm wearing a raggedy old Star Wars shirt, which is great. You're allowed to do that in the comfort of your own home. But if you want a versatile shirt that has changed the game on men's fashion, you got to go to our friends at Cuts Clothing. These shirts have redefined what the plain tee is. They've combined premium quality with a minimalist aesthetic. This stuff is the best. Cuts shirts, polos, hoodies, crew sweatshirts. They're all made for the man who works hard, plays hard, and never settles for less. Our friends at Cuts say, take a plain tee and make it Tony Stark. I love that tagline. Clem, I'm sure, loves it even more than I do. Remember, it's not just a lifestyle, it's office leisure apparel for the sport of business. Go on their website right now. It's cutsclothing.com/basement, and you'll get 15% off your first order. Go check out their clothes. They got the plain tees, plain hoodies, amazing stuff, really cool colors. It's versatile. Wear it to the gym, on a date, to dinner, to a wrestling show, to a movie premiere, wherever you want to wear Cuts Clothing. It works, I promise you. Agatha Harkness apparently has a spinoff in the works. It's coming. They've signed Catherine Hahn to a big multi-million-dollar deal or something She deserves that money. I feel like that's a rookie like overperforming in their first year, and then you get that big contract, that big payday. I'm excited. I'm with Ken Jack when he quote tweeted and he said, I'm a little bit worried they'll overexpose the character if it's just a show about her, but I am excited because, I mean, everything we've seen of her thus far gives us reason to be excited. I just hope it's not, and it probably is going to be. I don't love the 1600s era stuff. I don't want to see how she got to the stake and how she killed her mother, the betrayal, the sisters and stuff. I don't need to. I saw all that in the flashback. I hope it's modern day Agatha.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that was kind of everyone's initial thoughts because that was my initial thoughts, and you just know how everyone's going to react to like news like this that impacts a bunch of people, especially the nerdier side of things, where we always kind of go in like with either we're like, oh my god, they're bringing him back, or oh my god, this is going to be a fucking train wreck, and that, I feel like it was going to go to that. She's like perfectly fine. That's a flex player. We're talking fantasy football talk. That's a flex player. You're putting her as your RB1. It's like, all right, now that's fucking Agatha here. But this is what I have to say, and I truly believe. Everyone take a breath. Take a deep breath. It's going to be all right. We trust the Feige, no matter what. When it's all said and done, there is a giant whiteboard. All right? I don't know where it's I'm going to say Orlando. Could be LA. It's going to be LA. Let's be honest. The Marvel's much more of an LA
Probably
place.
LA, yeah.
It's in LA. That whiteboard is so fucking big. And there's so many characters that they have to lump. Think about the Marvel universe, not the MCU, the MU. And that universe has so many characters they have to start weaving in here. And the X-Men are going to be the big ones, Fantastic Four. But there's little ones that they have to sprinkle in as well, including that motherfucker Mephisto. And they can't just do it through all the movies and stuff like that. They have to do it through shows. And it's not going to just be shows that are after A-list characters or B-list characters, which, let's be honest, everyone kind of was like with WandaVision, they were mad because it was two characters. Yeah. Agatha's like 3 tiers below that. Even with like how great Catherine Hahn was in her role and how great that song was, she's still like a meh character. She's just going to be like the title character of this thing. There's going to probably be at least multiple hero villains or whatever involved with this. I didn't even think about the 1600s thing. You can't do that. You have to have her in her current state. It's going to be a little like, don't get too weird with it, because I thought those first 2 episodes of WandaVision were a little too much of a reach. I thought it was a little too crazy of a jump. Again, that wasn't supposed to be the first series of the Disney Plus, right? That was supposed to be like the 3rd one. I think we could have eased into that a little better. But I like it as a dark comedy. They're going to do an awesome job casting, because that's all they fucking done. And we know that between Doctor Strange, Spider-Man in the Multiverse, Shang-Chi, all that kind of stuff. By the way, shout out to me, Shang-Chi. I just say it Shang-Chi now. I say it the right way. I've trained myself to do that so quickly. I am really impressed with myself, how I'm saying it the right way. There's going to be a lot of weird
Says something about how great that movie is, huh?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
And then not to mention, like, WandaVision and kind of where we see Wanda leave off, there's going to be a lot of magic. There's going to be a lot of weird shit. They have to develop the characters and the different, probably like you said, like the different things, the pocket universes. They're going to have to develop a lot of that shit. Like for the rest of this phase and then the future, Kang is going to be in some weird ass shit, I can imagine. Talking time jumps, multiverse jumps. This guy was a fucking Egyptian pharaoh, and then he's some dude from the future. Yeah. I don't know how that's going to be possible. We need fucking a witch to come in and kind of, make magic a little more real. We have dragons now. There's going to be a lot of different things that are going to happen. So, like, just embrace it. Go in with an open mind. If it stinks, and I'm talking stinks, not be like meh. If it stinks, it'll be the first MCU thing that has stunk in years, right? So it's like, let's just like take a break here. Dark comedy, I like. We have Hawkeye's going to be a Christmas show. We have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness going to be horror. Let's throw some dark comedy in there. Let's get like,
I agree.
A couple like, oh, they went there. Let's get crazy with it, Marvel. Let's have fun with it. And, make jokes that go above the kids' heads. But
there's a girl that like killed a dog, like she's dark. She's super fucking dark. Let's get dark with it.
Good. Well, very well.
Kids kidnapped, like all that shit. Yeah.
She like haunted some like poor girl who went through the worst trauma of her trauma-filled life. I guess the parents dying was worse than Vision. Nonetheless, just a lot of bad shit going on, and this woman like tortured her. So let's. Do
you think we'll hear Agatha all along again? Will that be like the theme song or the credit song or something? Maybe they'll remix it to different lyrics, because that was very like WandaVision specific, but it was such a hit.
All right, I'll make my prediction now, as it's still in development, no less. So remember this, October 7th, 2021, I call this. We're going to get like a little couple notes in the background. Kind of like, when Anakin's walking, you hear like the Imperial March, kind of like
we'll hear that.
Notes of that.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
By the way, that to this day, the greatest piece of advertising I've ever seen for a movie was Phantom Menace when they have little Jake, what's his name? Jake Lloyd.
Jake Lloyd, yeah.
And it's the shadow and it's the Darth Vader shadow. Still the greatest thing I've ever seen. It'll be very similar to that, but like 1/1,000,000th the scope because it's Agatha Harkness versus Darth Vader. But yeah, I think we're gonna get that. I definitely think we're gonna get some sort of a note. And do we get Mephisto? That's the other question.
Oh, I mean, we could. Magic's involved.
The big, you got it. Like, I
what if we
like,
were just a little bit off about WandaVision and it was about,
this was the other episode. If coronavirus never happened, they were going to have Mephisto. I told you guys.
Well, they said WandaVision was a limited series. Maybe this is their way of like continuing a WandaVision-esque universe. Who knows? Because they can't do WandaVision season 2, obviously.
Exactly. And WandaVision, I think, was important to Doctor Strange and other shit, where they couldn't just be like, China's would be like, nope, WandaVision's not allowed here. But if they're like, nope, Agatha, whatever the fuck the show is, isn't allowed here because you have Mephisto, they're like, all right, cool, get the fuck. We've grown 10x since WandaVision was there. So bring me the big M. Bring me the big M. I want to see his dumbass. I've never heard of him until this stupid show and all the Reddit stuff.
Me neither.
But just give me fucking Mephisto. Come on.
Give him to us. All right, let's do our rankings. I'm going to go from, there's 9 episodes. I'm going to go 9 to 1. So worst to best. My 9 is Only Child Thor, episode 7. Like I said, not a huge fan of this. Not a huge fan of the way Thor was acting. Not a huge fan of pre-Taika Thor, all of that. Not horrible, though, so it says a lot about how good of a series What If was. Number 8, Killmonger Saves Tony Stark, episode 6. We talked about this on the show at the time. I think it was my least favorite. It was just a little boring, couldn't follow. They packed a lot of stuff in there. This one is surprising to me because I liked it a lot when I first saw it. Number 7 in my rankings is episode 1, Captain Carter.
Oh, wow.
After I've seen everything else, I'm kind of like, yeah, that one like kind of just stayed within the confines of that movie. Everything that happened was just Captain America, the First Avenger. So we didn't get to see a whole lot of new stuff. It was just, they kind of gender swapped it. So that one's there. Then I would put the finale, the one we just recapped, as my number 6. My number 5, I put last week's episode, Ultron gaining up to this level. I really liked that. I like that a little better than the finale. And then the top 4, the Mount Rushmore, if you will. Number 4, I have Zombies, Marvel Zombies. Loved that one.
Okay.
Number 3, T'Challa becomes Star-Lord. Number 2, and I know this was maybe controversial when I said it at the time, still is my number 2, the murder mystery episode. I really loved it. I'm a murder mystery guy, I think. I loved Knives Out, all that. I liked Hank Pym at the end when he had those dark eyes. He looked so evil. And number 1, without a shadow of a doubt for me, is what if Doctor Strange, lost his heart, right? That was, instead of his hands, he lost his heart. That episode was everything I wanted out of a what if. They took the universe and collapsed it. They destroyed it. Doctor Strange was fucked up and scary looking. They had Rachel McAdams, like you said. It's a true absolute point that could drive you wild watching Rachel McAdams die over and over again. So that was my number 1. Really good series. I would say What If season 1, I'm giving a solid B.
Yeah, I'll give it. All right, we'll go back to our original rankings here. If it's a fast food item, what would you say? What if it's? And it could be any fast food, any different restaurant. We're not going to limit you to one. What are you going to give it as?
That's a really good question. It's got to be something I'm not going to get every time, but I'm going to go for, once in a while because, I like that.
Yep. I'll give you mine. So you think I'll give you mine. McDonald's snack wrap.
Yeah,
it's like great complimentary piece. Nothing. I don't want to like just get that and fries and that's my meal. You can't do that. I think you got the snack wrap is if you're extra hungry. If I'm extra in the mood for Marvel, I'll throw on maybe a what if, but it's not going to carry its own. But it's going to be like I'm satisfied. I'm very happy. They mix it up. There's different sauces you can add. You can go grilled if you're a little
crispy.
Healthy.
Yeah. They got to bring those back. Those have been gone since COVID.
So I didn't realize that. I did realize that because I remember going around the time when. I think we were all in some pretty dark days when the pandemic first happened, and then they started taking away shit like the snack wrap, and you're just like, the world is ending right
away.
now.
What the fuck? Yeah.
and when McDonald's had that announcement the other day, and it was all for the McRib, which I honestly thought was just on the menu at this point because it's come back and left, and it's honestly for the people that are still on the internet being like, making pizza roll jokes, right? It's like that. The McRib was a funny thing in like 2015, or it was a big deal. It's like bring back either
bacon.
Monopoly.
I love bacon, like the memes. About that. It's like, oh geez,
the bacon shit. The zombie stuff, right? The zombies was another thing. Zombie panic. It's like either bring back the snack wrap or bring back McDonald's Monopoly. I don't care if it's rigged. Don't give a fuck. Bring back one of those two. And it was the
It's a good
McRib. So
documentary, though. The McDonald's Monopoly documentary is fucked up.
that was right around when Corona like broke out too, and it's
Yeah,
like
McMillions.
we were having some fun with it, and then it was like next thing you know, we're all watching Tiger King and fucking stuck in our house. There's a wild transition there. It's so craziness.
I'm gonna go with this fast food item. I'm gonna go with the Taco Bell cinnamon twists. Because you know what? Are you gonna add them onto every meal you get at Taco Bell? Probably not. Are they enjoyable when you get them? Yeah. Are they gonna change your world? Are you gonna be like, these are the greatest things I've ever had? No, they're just little cinnamon twists. They're good though. Every time they're good. You say, yeah, those are good. Those were worth adding onto my meal. Tiny. They were short. You know, you don't have to take a long time to eat them. So I don't know. I think snack wrap and cinnamon twists.
I think that's perfect because you even add in it's like another like 8 minutes worth of credits, right? And then so it's very, but like the feeling I get in my stomach, like the little happy feeling I get when I see cinnamon twists on the menu, or when I see what a new What If is out, or just What If in general, like the comic books, it's like the same. Like I'm just happy
it's
that
a little
exists
warm feeling. Yeah.
Yes, I got you. I feel you on that. My rankings are a little different. I had Killmonger last. I just didn't. Maybe it's because they really murdered the fuck out of Tony Stark, but I thought it was going to be a big part of it. Serial Killer was next. The Pym one, the Hank Pym one, because I'm not a murder. I am a murder mystery guy, but it has to be done a certain way. Like Knives Out, I loved, and again, I think that speaks to what I was talking about with the dark comedy for the Agatha show. I think if they do it right, and they're going to do it right, they're going to cast right, they're going to get the right writers and directors. Which the writer, I believe, is the guy from WandaVision, right? So that guy's going to be, or the director. I think yeah, so that guy's going to be, whoever is in charge of that is going to be fine. But the Serial Killer one, followed by Zombies. Again, not a big zombie movie guy, but I appreciated like how it was. Party Boy Thor, give me Fat Thor instead. Captain I know I'm gonna put the finale next, just because I do think there were some flat parts. Captain Carter, I actually liked how they gave us the another version of Iron Man, which I would have never seen coming, and they named it the Hydra Stomper. Ultron winning, but I do think you could tier those. The bottom three are probably their own tier. The next couple are their own. Next three are their own tier. I do think Doctor Strange is my 2, T'Challa, Star-Lord 1, and I think those are on their own tier by themselves. Those are your Christian McCaffrey and Ezekiel Elliott. We'll keep bringing it back to fucking fantasy football shit. Fuck it, Saquon. We're bringing Saquon back in the mix. He looked great last week. Saquon and Christian McCaffrey. Those are your top 2. They're kind of in their own realm. Strange was much more emotional, which I thought was great, but and went a bunch of different ways. But T'Challa, Star-Lord, the fact they almost had an entire series about that, guts me that. I thought that would have been a lot of fun, even if it was 5 episodes. James Gunn would have gotten involved. It would have been a really good series. So
just more Happy Thanos, like you said, would have been worth the 5 episodes.
Yeah, and again, Chadwick Boseman just hearing that voice, and he's just saying
that calming voice.
Yeah, exactly. Just hearing him talk to all these different people would have been so awesome. So yeah, another reason why that fucking death is absolutely gut wrenching. So T'Challa, Strange, and I guess Ultron 1 are my top 3, but again, 3 is irrelevant at this point. It's just those top 2.
Cutting off the pod one more time to tell everyone about America's #1 meal kit. It's HelloFresh. I use this stuff each and every week. I love HelloFresh. I actually used my own promo code to get it, and it's the easiest stuff to cook. You get these meals. They're pre-measured ingredients. Healthy stuff you can get not so healthy stuff. It's not unhealthy for you, but you could stick to a nice diet, or you could stick to some restaurant style meals that would be from any other restaurant. And they're restaurant style quality as well, for a fraction of the cost as well. It's 30% cheaper than shopping at your local grocery store that's getting HelloFresh, and about 80% cheaper than getting takeout every night. HelloFresh offers 50 menu and market items to choose from every week, from vegetarian meals and calorie-smart choices to extra special gourmet options, so there's something for everyone to enjoy. Truly a meal for everyone. I've got a weird stomach, and I don't have any issues picking meals every week. Go to HelloFresh.com/14Robbie, ROBBIE.com, and use that promo code 14Robbie for up to 14 free meals, including free shipping on your first order. HelloFresh, it's America's #1 meal kit for a reason. Let's get back into the show. We got a couple what ifs sent in from the listeners. The first one, what if we got a live action Guardians of the Multiverse? And then this is Benarius Targaryen. And he said, also, is Black Widow back? Could she be? Bit confused on where she got dropped off. I think we kind of talked about that earlier. I don't think it's our main universe. I think there was one little thing where I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's not the MCU. And as far as actual Guardians of the Multiverse, I think Haley Atwell, Captain Carter, I still think maybe she was in the background of that first Loki episode. Who knows? They could be thinking of something weird. Like Waldron never answered that dead on when the movie boys
Yeah.
asked him. So like, who knows? He could have something on that whiteboard up his sleeve. Other Guardians of the Multiverse, I don't think we'll get Party Thor. I don't think we'll get. Who knows? We might get evil Killmonger, but he's in that pocket. He's in that pocket universe, so he'd have to come back. Strange Supreme, I think we get in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I think Strange Supreme and or Misguided Doctor Strange, as they called him in like some of the closed captioning, and Haley Atwell as Captain Carter, I think would be the two.
Misguided. I wonder, like, what points in my life where they would call me like Misguided Clem, where I just lost my way, and they're like, "Yep, he's starting to go towards the misguided side of things."
As soon as I declared myself Team KFC, a narrator came over and said, "Misguided Robbie Fox walked into Barstool Radio with Dave Portnoy."
Yeah. Sorcerer Supreme, I think, is if it happens,
that's like a lock, right?
A lock, yeah. That's by far the most like. That's minus 1,000 if the Barstool Sportsbook. If you wanted to responsibly gamble on the Barstool Sportsbook, please go to barstoolsportsbook.com. Shut up, pen. And then
the only issue with Captain Carter, and I swear she's going to come into the universe somewhere, is where do you put her? Like, what does she come in during? Is she a Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? Is she a Secret Wars? Does she come back for Secret Wars? Or I'm not necessarily sure where she fits, but I think she's going to fit somewhere.
If Strange comes in and they opened the portal for that, they opened the gate. If she doesn't come at some point, I'd be surprised. And then my third isn't even someone who's in this, but I just feel like Shuri's going to end up being the next Iron Man. I just have that gut thing. It's something that's just, I swear to God, I didn't get a sneak peek at the whiteboard.
Now she got in trouble this week. So that actress.
Did she?
Did you see any of that? She's apparently on the Black Panther set spreading like anti-vaccine views, which like whatever, but like she's apparently pushing it very heavily onto other people on set. And that's where it becomes an issue, telling people what to do. But yeah, there's like an article in the Hollywood Reporter about it today. So she might be fumbling that bag.
Yeah, I was saying, like, everyone's agent should just like have like a 20-minute.
Her agent dropped her, actually.
Oh, there we go. Well, no, I'm saying every agent before, like when they have their client, be like, "Hey, listen, we're going to tell you the story of Gina Carano," and just be like, "Listen, if you have views, you can have them, but like, just realize they might affect you, which then affects us, and none of us are making money from this golden cash cow we're able to milk for basically the rest of our lives." I guess they could just switch the. I guess no. I'm thinking, what if?
Well, they are doing the Ironheart show with like Riri Williams, I think her name is.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
So you could make that Ironheart girl, or you could do Iron Lad with the kid from Iron Man 3.
Okay, yep. And the Killmonger thing did hammer one thing home. We've talked about it before. Hashtag stop killing your villains, Marvel. All right? Like, give them the Darth Vader spinning out in their spaceship and leave it for the future. Like, I don't need to see. The only time you feel like you need to see a death.
You could say we didn't find a body. You could say we didn't see like a dead body. He kind of like they threw him into the thing of Killmonger, and I don't know. Black Panther survived that, so maybe he's out there somewhere.
Seriously wound him, set him to a deep part of space, freeze his ass. There's like a million ways you can not kill your villains because. And again, I don't know enough about Black Panther to know how high Killmonger was on his list, but I feel like we've killed a lot of pretty decent villains so far, and Marvel has plenty of others that are probably going to be introduced through the Agatha show and many more. That whiteboard has a ton of them on there, but like, let's just stop killing them, all right? Just stop killing your villains, Marvel. That's all I'm asking.
What if we got from 480 Otis? He said, what if Disney never bought Star Wars? I thought this one was very interesting because there's a little bit of like revisionist history when it comes to Disney buying Star Wars. People seem to think that Disney took Star Wars off of George Lucas's hands and announced on their own, we're making 3 new Star Wars movies. These are going to be our Star Wars movies. We're rebooting it. We're bringing it back. And that's not the case. George Lucas was actually planning on bringing it back before he sold to Disney. And it became such a workload for him that he was like, I'm going to look for an investor and give my ideas for episodes 7, 8, and 9 to someone like that. He wanted it to be Disney. He got it to be Disney. He gave them a good deal, $4.2 billion, and they wound up making The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker without a lot of his ideas. He got upset about that. He said he felt like he sold like his baby to slave owners. It was a whole ugly thing. They kind of made up since then. I do think if George Lucas didn't sell Star Wars to Disney, he would have made his Force Awakens. I think it would have been called something else, Star Wars Episode 7, blah, 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 blah. And it would have been very, very, very similar to The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi followed a lot of his general outlines, I would say, of Kira, this Jedi who wound up being Rey, going to a deserted island and finding Luke Skywalker, and Luke Skywalker being a bit of a hermit and not agreeing to train her right away, but then coming around to it. And there was this Jedi hunter that was trying to get old Jedi artifacts like Darth Vader's helmet. That became Kylo Ren. So there were a lot of similar elements. I think it might have caused George Lucas to be in this ultimate like nerd hatred realm of if he followed up the prequels, the last thing he did with a movie that was like The Last Jedi was very divisive in the internet age. Jesus. Listen, I'm happy George didn't do that just for his own sanity.
Yeah, again, like we said last week, if they had made like Empire Strikes Back today, we find a million things to hate about it, even though it's a fucking masterpiece. So it's probably for the best in the end. And now it makes perfect sense that George Lucas had The Last Jedi planned out like that, because it's just like the prequels, where you're just like, what the fuck was the point of that movie? Nope, we're not doing Last Jedi hatred. We're not doing it. We've moved past it. The Last Jedi, I have to say this about it. It taught me a very valuable lesson. It's that it's like the dress. You could both look at the dress, you see a different color. When The Sopranos came out, a lot of people hated it. Some people loved it. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining to me. And I was like, you know what? That's all it has to be. We don't have to go into debate about it. Today I tweeted out Macintosh apples are my favorite apples. And I'm like, and if you disagree, you simply have the right to your opinion. Like, let's not even do this anymore online. We've done this for how many years online?
I haven't tweeted about The Last Jedi in so long because it's like you don't even want to do it, because if you do it, you have 50 mentions immediately. Oh, did Rian Johnson ruin Star Wars? He ruined my childhood. Ruined this. It's like, he didn't ruin shit. The Mandalorian's like the best Star Wars shit we've gotten since Disney, and it came after The Last Jedi. So everyone shut the fuck up.
Yep.
The Last Jedi existed. It's out there. If you didn't like it, it's a shame. But like, I hate not being able to even mention it on Twitter without people jumping down my throat.
I did like it. Is always good for like some to get some easy likes from people when you just make an easy joke about The Last Jedi and you just go like, oh, and you just like, oh, I'm gonna get it in here. And the other people, and most people won't even respond because they don't want to get into it. But agreed. If you just be like a man and just ignore it, like you ignore all your other problems, right? It's like, don't worry about it. Everything, everything's just fine. I didn't realize all that stuff about George Lucas. That's fascinating. I thought it was really just kind of like put up from the end. I will say one thing that would have happened, and it would have made this movie great. It would have been Darth Jar Jar. Darth Jar Jar comes back in episode 7. He's the Phantom Menace, as he should have been from day one, and we get Darth Jar Jar in episode 7. Absolute chaos. Was he gonna do like? Was the First Order supposed to like feel just like the Empire? Like, do you know, was that part of his plan, or because I was one
don't
thing
necessarily
I didn't like
know if that was I don't know.
Yeah. They make a lot of money.
They make a lot of money. Very, very fascinated to know, like, how far did he get with that episode 7? Is there an outline? Is there, did he go into episode 8? Did he go into episode 9? Was he just working on the 1? I would love for, I don't know who was around him at that time, maybe Dave Filoni, to write a book one day about like what George Lucas was really thinking about that. The most we have out of it is if you have the Art of the Force Awakens book. A lot of that concept art was actually made when George was thinking about it. So you could see some of that stuff, like I believe the downed Death Star was from his draft of The Force Awakens, and it was going to be completely underwater, where they're going to have to like dive, almost like the Phantom Menace, like where they dive underwater and swim through it, and they were going to swim through the Emperor's throne room and stuff. So that was from it and stuff. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty. Disney doesn't make a ton of money. They probably maybe they buy DC in this What If, right? And they have DC and the MCU, because did they buy They bought Star Wars before Marvel, right? So
no,
Marvel was first.
I think they had Marvel first, yeah, because they've been making this for a while. The MCU and shit was around before that. So
okay, cool.
All right, that's about it. I mean, we have like some other what ifs, but there are a lot of the ones that we've like answered already this season. I appreciate everyone who sent in what ifs this season. It's going to be fun to go back to this next season of What If, which we are getting 2022. We'll go back to the hypotheticals. We'll bring KFC in, and stay tuned for episodes between now and Hawkeye. Still going to be weekly drops. I don't know if they're going to be interviews. I don't know if Clem's going to join, if KFC's going to join, if Brendan's going to join. You never know who's going to pop down into the basement. Probably some Dana White. I would say Dana White will definitely be on between now and November, because they've got a UFC pay-per-view at the Garden coming up. So stay tuned, everybody. Subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. That helps us out a ton. We're trying to grow on YouTube. We're trying to really get up to 10,000 subscribers. I think that would be awesome. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify. Make sure to follow Clem at the Clem Report. Clem has been putting up some awesome blogs lately on some nerdy stuff. He's been blogging What If for me all season. I appreciate that, all the different hypotheticals. As always, Clem, thank you for coming down. I can't wait to talk about Hawkeye with you.
It was an absolute pleasure. We're getting to the point now where we get some, it's going to be a little reprieve here, but I bet there's going to be enough shit where we're going to be like, yo, let's hop on, get on the mic.
We might do some commentaries. That could be fun to do. Go back to a commentary, bring someone on for one.
Yep, that would be a lot of fun. And again, once football season's in and we're getting those little like Sunday 4:00 post Patriot games, that's when we get on. And then it's going to be fast and furious. I said, it's no longer baseball season. It's no longer even football season, even though the Giants won on Sunday. It is now MCU season. We got Eternals. We got Spider-Man. If you want to just say it's nerd season, we got, Star Wars coming up come December, plus Hawkeye. So a lot of stuff coming. So
and I'll tell you what I'll do for sure before Eternals. I'm going to get my friend, I think Jose Youngs will come on. He's from MMAfighting.com, but he's a comic book wizard. This guy's an encyclopedia of comic books. Doesn't even really watch the MCU, which is fucked up. He's such a comic book purist that he's like, they don't do what they did in the comics completely, so I'm not into it. I'm going to have him come on and explain the Eternals to us. So we go into that movie with a little bit of comic book knowledge. We feel like we're in the know, by the time we step into the theater.
That's a good call because I feel like I've for Watchmen, and then there was something else. There was another thing where I went into it blind, was watched it completely overwhelmed, and then did some research online or whatever, watched a couple of YouTube videos, and then I watched again. I'm like, oh my God, this is so much better. If we actually do that, and the first time we see Eternals, we get to enjoy it with those kind of with that kind of mind. That sounds like a great idea.
And Eternals is going to be the first Marvel movie that Marvel is debuting at a film festival before it comes out, which is leading a lot of people to believe this shit is going to be good. That Chloe Zhao effect. Best director winner at the Oscars. She's making a crazy film, a film.
We're not talking movies.
A film.
Fans, we're going fancy boy on it. That's when it's good. Marvel thinks they have a winner here. They're sending it out there. And this is how I'm going to measure the success of Eternals. If I do not go into that review and I'm not calling him Rob Stark, Jon Snow, Angelina Jolie, if I'm calling them by their actual weird-ass Eternal names, which I'm sure are going to be fucking really weird and I'm going to cut my tongue off to pronounce, that's how you know it's going to be a success. But everyone, please, we cannot say enough. Everyone listening, please, even the people watching, especially the people watching, just subscribe down below. This guy, Robbie Fox, is working his dick off to fucking edit these videos every single week. And we appreciate the listens. It counts just as much in my book as it does the watch. But just get to subscribe so then we can do more shit with the basement here. We've talked about maybe some movie parties or some other stuff. But it's going to be hard when they're just what are the numbers? If the listening numbers are good, but then we throw fucking YouTube 10K at them, they're like, double digit? We're talking double digit Ks here?
That would be legit.
Motherfucker. We're talking double digit.
If you want My Mom's Basement event, you got to subscribe. You got to help support, and we'll get it there.
That's right, baby.
All right, and before I get out of here, I'll just say this breaking news. I saw Dave wearing a My Mom's Basement hoodie in the office today. Clem saw it as well. I was like, Clem, Dave is wearing a My Mom's Basement hoodie right now. You won't believe this, but it's on. He wore it for 2 seconds because it didn't fit him, but it was on.
Dave Portnoy, I just thought he was a long-time listener. No, turns out he's a legitimate basement boy. He's a diehard. He's that next level up.
I really don't. I think he just bought it. He's a big fan, as we said last week. Huge My Mom's Basement fan.
I didn't even know they had him in the store. I didn't even know they had him still in the store. So shout out. And big words for big win for Nathan Hurst, right? That was a Nathan Hurst.
Hell
design.
Yeah!
So shout out
Nathan Hurst. He's constantly still doing cool stuff. He did just in his own free time. He did a pop punk poster for us that was just so awesome. I feel like we should make it a shirt. Shout out Nathan Hurst. Shout out all the listeners that have joined us for What If, and we'll see you next week. I don't know what for, but we'll see you next week.